my next incarnation, I'm going to be a lot taller. Hello, Dyke Marchers. I'm delighted to be back in Vancouver. One of my fondest memories is of marrying my wife here in 2003, when same-sex marriage became legal in British Columbia. Canada legalized it nationwide in 2005. The United States, my own poor, benighted country, did so only 10 years later. While we celebrate these days of gay pride, keep in mind that every right and freedom we have at this moment, gay rights, women's rights, the rights of people of color, came about because we fought for them. They weren't bestowed on us like Christmas presents for good, obedient little children. They were won because we were disobedient. The Dyke Marchers, the organizers, have asked me to share some of my personal history. Back in 1963, when I was 18, I had my first affair with a woman. At that time, the law considered people like us criminals and threw us in prison. The clergy called us sinners to repent or be thrown into hell. Most psychologists said we were sick and threw us into mental hospitals. A few of those psychologists, the liberal ones, said we were stuck in an immature state of development and needed years of expensive therapy. The woman I loved encouraged me to see one of those liberal therapists who said I should be bisexual. That didn't work. I tried finding other lesbians at the bars, but didn't fit in either. Then I heard about the Daughters of Believers, the DOB. I don't know what lesbian organizations existed in Canada before Stonewall, but in the US, the major one, if not the only one, was the DOB. In 1967, when I joined the New York chapter, only a handful of lesbian gays were out in public. That's a handful nationwide. Members of our groups came to meetings hoping to find partners, but otherwise stayed in the closet to protect their lives and careers. Our efforts were spent pleading for acceptance, trying to convince the rest of society that all we wanted was to join the middle class. The biggest demonstration that our groups put on was in 1966, during the Vietnam War, when we pleaded for permission to serve in the military. I was 23 when I joined the DOB and didn't have a career to lose. Plus, I had a big mouth and not enough sense to be self-protective, so the women running our chapter made me the public speaker. I was asked to speak to abnormal psychology classes where I would explain why we weren't crazy. I even debated a couple of anti-gay head shrinkers on TV. Then, in June 1969, came the Stonewall riot. Those few nights of fighting back are rightly celebrated as a turning point in history. What made the difference, though, wasn't the riot itself, but the political actions that followed. I passed by the Stonewall during the action, thinking it was just another anti-war demonstration. 2 days later, when I heard the real story, I was on fire. I called for a protest march, and a few of us organized that march exactly 1 month after the riot. Around 500 people showed up, more lesbians and gay men than had ever been out in public, out in the sunshine together. Just 1 year later, over 10,000 of us marched up 6th Avenue. At the same time as we organized that first march, we formed the Gay Liberation Front, the GLF. What was the Gay Liberation Front? In New York, a bunch of raggedy-ass kids with no money and no connections in high places. We'd all been influenced by or participated in the civil rights movement, the anti-Vietnam War movement, the women's movement. Beg for permission to put our feet on the rungs of the corporate ladder? Hell no! We abhorred the entire hierarchical system. Beg to be shipped to Vietnam to kill people who'd never done anything to us? Hell no! We demonstrated for gay rights and joined demonstrations for the rights of other oppressed people and against the war. We held dances. We put out a newspaper. What we did, what made all the difference, was to reach out to other progressive groups and make alliances with them. First, we changed the minds of the radicals. Later, our successor groups brought in the liberals. Eventually, we even reached some of the conservatives. The laws changed. Now the United States permits us to marry legally and serve openly in the military. Within months after we started the Gay Liberation Front in New York, other GLF groups sprang up around the US and in Canada, England, Denmark, and New Zealand. By 2021, gay pride celebrations happened in 107 countries around the world. So that bunch of raggedy-ass kids started an international movement. If we could do it in 1969, we can, all of us, do it again today. Back then, we dreamed of a revolution. Now, as I'm sure you've heard, there's a conservative backlash in the US. They want to roll back our gains, just as they've rolled back women's reproductive rights. And that means we have to fight, not just for gay rights and women's rights, but also for other oppressed groups, for economic justice, and to deal with climate change. Once again, we must make alliances. Let's channel our energy and joy from today's events. Use them as fuel for the work ahead, and finish the revolution we dreamed of. I want to say something else. I am going to be 80 this year. And I have witnessed so much, and I love you guys so much. And I want to say that it's not just individuals like me, not just a few leaders. Everyone has something to give. Everyone has whatever you can do to make the world better today, tomorrow, the next day. Whatever you can do, do it. Thank you. Thank you.